Self-care was a phrase I'd never come across before I started with See Me, and it's like being given permission to look after yourself, because I tend to put a lot of energy into looking out for other people, and suddenly to be told that actually you're allowed to look after yourself, I think that was huge for me.
So when it comes to issues with poor sleep, I definitely would say, don't brush aside and ignore the advice and the sort of small stuff that's offered to you. I was told time and time again that trying to get into a good routine with your sleep really makes a difference, and I thought, well, that doesn't feel big enough for the problems that I'm experiencing. It can't just be this, but really what made a difference was trying to find a routine that worked for me. I always try and switch off all my devices before a certain time, and not everyone can spend an hour lying in bed reading before they go to sleep. That certainly doesn't work for me, but I try and get some podcasts, and they don't even need to be, I listen to true crime podcasts, which maybe isn't the most relaxing, but it helps. It kind of helps me process the day and unwind before I go to sleep. And I guess the best advice is also not being afraid of things that might seem a bit unusual. I got pregnancy pillows for my bed and just surrounded myself in really comfy cushions and pillows, and that actually helped. So yeah, it might sound a bit unusual, but what works for people works.
So the first number is 1 and 8, 18, 3 and 5, 35, 8 and 5, 85. See me?
I learnt kayak just to get out and that really helped my stress levels because it was relaxing, and yeah, it was something different I'd never done before. Somebody also told me to try knitting to help with your stress, so I was knitting baby hats because my knitting skills aren't that good, but I could knit baby hats for the premature baby units and that, and it just makes you concentrate on something different.
2 and 8, 28.
Reading books has always been my biggest comfort blanket.
Getting out walking and looking up, no just looking at the floor, getting up and seeing what's out there. There's some really nice architecture, even just a lamppost that looks different, that's got a nice top in it, and maybe taking 5 pictures or something when you're out your walk. Just go out and enjoy the fresh air. Even if it's raining, there's always something nice. You might see a rainbow. So that really helped my low moods, and still does, getting out and having fresh air.
Taking time to relax and take time for myself. A lot of kind of breathing work I used to do, and a lot of meditation, get out in nature really kind of helped. But opening up about my struggles was the biggest part of it, and I really felt that really helped me, and that's something I would really kind of recommend to people.
Anxieties, when they're in your head, they get bigger and bigger and more scary. But somehow when you actually voice them, especially if you voice them to someone, they immediately shrink. It's almost like popping a bubble. And obviously it doesn't make it go away, but that's how it becomes more manageable.
Well, for grief, obviously that was a big part of my life. That was actually how my eating disorder originally started, with losing my mum, and I kind of had bottled it up for many years. The biggest part for me was to write it down on paper, everything that I'd kind of bottled up. That was a kind of release, and it was very cathartic for me. And having somebody to speak to, and obviously I was lucky enough that my dad was still alive, and I kind of opened up to him. And so I feel that that's really what you've got to do. You've got to kind of open up about things and ask for help.